Salwete. We're going to be looking at pronouns some, and I'm using here, because I like the way it's laid out, I'm using the Unit 4 Cambridge book on page 301. But the Aeneid book that you have, Farr's Aeneid, and really any Latin grammar is going to have these same tables and charts for you to look at. So if you are getting stuck with certain pronouns or declensions or something like that, and you need to reference something in one of these grammars or in your Virgil in Farr, then you can always look back there, and they're all pretty much laid out pretty well the same. But I'm using this one because I think you'd probably be a little more used to the format, and I like how it's laid out. So let's take a look at pronouns. And hopefully these look really familiar because we use them quite a bit. Notice they have the cases over here in the same order, and then they're going to show you the singular and plural forms for these different pronouns. So pronoun is a noun that takes the place of a noun. It's for a noun, pronomina, or pronouns. And there's a number of different types of pronouns that we use, and they appear all the time, so they're super important words. First ones we're going to look at are personal pronouns, those pronouns that refer to people, and these should look very familiar. You got ego, right, for the nominative, that's the subject form, and then if it's accusative, it's me. The genitive is mei, like of me. If you're going to give something to me, da mihi, then it's mihi, and then if it's ablative, it's me, like cum me or me cum, with me. Cum requires an ablative, so that's me. Now notice the two forms are really kind of similar. You got ego, mei, mihi, me over here, and tu, tui, tibi, te, te. So that sounds kind of fun to say that if you want to memorize it like that. I encourage you to do that. I had to do that when I was learning Latin, and hopefully, you know, a lot of these are just in your subconscious. You know them already, like mihi and tibi, and they look very similar. For plural, nos means we, of course, and vos means you, plural, you all. And then nostrum and vestrum, that's like ours, okay, ours, and yours. Nobis, to us, so da nobis, give to us. There's a famous song, dona nobis pacem, give to us peace, right? Vobis, give to you, to you. Nos and vos are the same as the nominatives, good thing to note, and nobis and vobis, ablative. Notice they're the same also. Like in the noun declensions, is an ablative, and these ablatives, in their singular, they end in a vowel, just like most other nouns in other declensions. And then remember, when you say mecum and tecum, that means cum me, mecum, tecum, nobiscum, vobiscum, with you. Okay, one way to say goodbye in the Middle Ages, you know, they'd say Dominus vobiscum, God be with you. Okay, vobiscum, with you, nobiscum, with us. So those are personal pronouns. We've got reflexive pronouns here. In English, these are the ones that are like myself, you know, yourself, and those are the same for these right here. But for the third person, they're going to be a little different. They're sui, sibi, say, okay? And that's like if you look at yourself. So if you said something like, you know, he sees himself in a mirror, you'd say something like, Anthony se spectat. Anthony sees se, himself. Okay? And then secum, you might remember when we've had that structure, if you say dixit secum, he was saying to himself. You could say dixit sibi also. Or putat secum, he is thinking to himself. You could say, you know, cogitat secum, thinking to himself. And then those are like mecum and tecum. Those are reflexives. They reflect back to the subject. Now they have this category here called demonstrative, when you want to demonstrate or show something. Okay? And there's several demonstrative pronouns in Latin. The is, ea, id demonstrative pronoun is the weakest one, or it's kind of neutral. It's just, it can mean he, she, or it, or it can also mean that, or those, and it goes like this. In the nominative, notice masculine, feminine, neuter are all different. Is the nominative for he, ea for she, and id for it. Now you don't always use these when you have a verb. You don't say necessarily is ambulat, because a lot of times you just say ambulat, he walks. You don't have to say the pronoun. But you can if you want to, especially if you want to emphasize it. Is, ea, and id are the nominatives. Notice the genitive is always eius, which just means his, hers, or its. The dative, hopefully you'll remember this, is ei, like nomen ei, the name to him, or his name is. That can also kind of mean his, hers, and its, if it's showing possession. So ei. And then eum, eyam, and id, those are the accusative forms. Notice they end in m's, like accusative singulars usually do. And eyo, eya, eyo, these end in vowels like ablative singulars usually do. So some examples of eyo might be something like eyo tempore, at that time, or at this time. This kind of plays the role of the word the, or this or that, this eyo and eya. And there's some other words that can do that function too. But Latin doesn't really have the, so this is one way you can kind of make it. So eyo tempore, at this time. Actually, that'd be this neuter one, because tempore is neuter. In the plural, these words are ei for they, ei for they, feminine, and eya for those things, or these things, eya. And then eorum, earum, eorum, notice those follow second and first declensions. And then eis, also can be written eis, that follows first and second declension with the is in the ablative. Eos, eyas, eya, this is all following first and second declension. Second for masculine, first for feminine. And then eis, it's the same as the ablative. So these are good it's good to have this in your mind, or know where you can reference it if you see some pronouns and you need to check out what they are in order to translate something. Very helpful to have it as a place to reference it. So that's personal pronouns, reflexive, and the first of the demonstratives. I'll get into the other two demonstrative pronouns in the next video. Walete.